Hello, viewers. You are tuned into Ramon Sawaya, and we've always got something to talk about, but tonight we're going to talk about something really cool. This is for men. This is for men only. Women, you have the right to tune in. You have the right to take your mouse, slide it right up to the upper right-hand diagonal of the screen, push the red X, and vacate the premises unless you are able to meet the following requirements. Number 1, able to take constructive criticism. Number 2, don't get easily butthurt. Number 3, you're not one of those women that doesn't like being told no. If you can meet those 3 criteria, then stay tuned and listen to this, because that means you're probably a decent woman. Men, we're going to talk from some personal experiences here. We're not going to be specific. No one's going to know who I'm talking about. But we're going to talk about Paul Elam. He's got a video channel. I'm going to put it in the link. You need to listen to him. Those of you men that have dated crazies, red flags. I learned a lot from him. I just recently dated a very beautiful woman. Very beautiful woman. I really liked her. But I heard some things in this video tonight that just made me go, whoosh, I could have had a V8. Now, when I talk about what I'm talking about, I'm not blasting this woman. I'm talking about mistakes that we men make because we're so enamored with beautiful. We men are so enamored with beautiful that beautiful blinds us. Beautiful causes us to lose our 20/20 vision. Yeah, I know, I don't have that. It causes us to not be realistic, objective, and logical because we've been afflicted with beautyitis. Oh my gosh, she's so good looking. The woman I just dated had a lot of good qualities. We're all human. We all screw up. I'm not here to bash that woman. So when I'm talking to you, she wasn't for me. And I was not for her. I really thought that she might have been. But let me tell you a couple red lights that I ran, not being too specific. Red light number 1. And I'm not just talking about her. I'm talking about past women I've dated. I'm talking about people that I've been friends with who've told me their own stories. So you're not going to know who and what I'm talking about, which is perfect. Because I'm taking my experiences, their experiences, and people who've communicated to me, and books I've read, and other people I've listened to, and I'm throwing it all together. So if you're on a rabbit hunt or a Salem witch trial trying to find Ramon's what, you're not going to be able to do it. But let me give you one freebie. In the past, I have dated women that have done the following thing. Right off in the relationship, I've had women tell me about all the abuse they suffered, all the bad men that they've suffered, how bad people treated them, and they volunteered that right away. And Paul Elam says, that's a United Nations assortment of national red flags. All the nations of red flags. They go, I love that. That's well put, Paul. And he says, when you have a woman that's volunteering that kind of information, saying, I was abused, I was sexually abused, I was physically abused, and then pouring out her heart about all the bad men in her life, run. That's the first sign of crazy. The next thing he says is, do you want to date a victim? I know so many women that have played victim before the relationship and then after that relationship. Do you want to date a victim? When I think of the word victim, I'm thinking of somebody lying dead on the ground. Why would you date that? We men don't want to offend a woman. We're afraid that if we say no, they're going to get upset, deny us, as Paul says, getting laid. And his redheaded person on his channel, Dr. T, she's pretty sharp as a tack for a female. And I like what she has to say. My own deficit is I have gone right over all those red flags because I didn't really know they were at the time. But after the years went by, I thought, why is it women always want to precipitate every date with opening their trench coat and saying, I want you to come into the hallways of my past. On the left, we have a whole litany of men that have been totally horrible to me. And on the right, this one was verbally abusive, this was emotionally abusive, physically abusive, sexually abusive. And he didn't believe in feng shui. You know what? How come we men, when we're being flashed by a woman's trench coat of despair, do we not turn around and go, oh, I can't look at that, and run? Let me say something to the women that are tuning in. All of us can be a victim. I've had my share of stories, and I could play the poor me, woe is me, alas. But I don't. Life goes on. And as somebody I knew recently said, keep it moving. You have to. So, relationships are give and take, right? This video is about be yourself to weed out women. Let's be honest, men. How many times have you told this woman that you were all head over heels for, that you shared her morals, her faith, her musical interests, her TV show interests, and deep down inside you were gagging on all of those? Paul Elam says, you know, if the woman says, oh, I love Sex in the City, and you say, oh yeah, let's get some popcorn, I'll watch it with you every single time. And the guy's ready to puke because he thinks Sex in the City is pop culture garbage. And you can add anything you want. Let me tell you where I stand, okay? I just recently heard of the show Zombies. I don't watch it. It's horror. I think the whole zombie thing is garbage. And you know why? You know what's happening today? Today, as I'm living in a different generation, and because of the life I choose to live, I literally have not heard about a lot of things. Because I just don't run in certain circles to make myself privy to all of the cultural fatisms that come down the road. What I do know that's disturbing in our culture is more violence, more way out there fictitious stuff, zombies and, you know, shoot 'em up movies and killing people and slicing people. And if you want to weed out people that you have no business dating, first rule of thumb, men, is you need to be yourself. If the woman doesn't like the chain around your neck, if the woman doesn't like the clothes you wear, or the woman comments that you need to get different glasses, run! We men have lived way too long of women saying, oh, I'm so into you, but I don't like that, and I don't like that. And it's like, you know what, honey? No. Remember what I said in yesterday's video about women are childish? Women are like toddlers? That you have to teach kids at a young age, no means no. And what do American women learn? When they're told no, what do? Just like a toddler. And whine. And they have their own ways of whining. My My mother used to clam up as a form of punishment to her husband. When she got really mad at him, she wouldn't talk to him for days. Shut the door. He'd try to say, honey, clam up. Very immature, very juvenile weaponry. Immature. We kids sitting here growing up under that, going, wow, that's messed up. Now, before anybody lynch mobs me, we're human, I understand that. But to live a lifestyle of being so rude like that is not capiche. I have people ask me all the time, why are you wearing that? And my response is, because I can. But, no buts. Because I can. Because I am Ramon Sawaya. I am me, and I do what me wants. You must be yourself. Yes, you'll have a lot of women pass you by. Oh, he's got that weird chain on. Oh, my gosh. Hey, man, if they're going to trip up over an ornament, you don't want to be with them anyway. If they get butthurt because you tell them you don't like Sex and the City or another pop culture trash show, oh, my gosh. Don't cry over that. Let her go. Why? Because that's a red flag saying she's very superficial and she's into cultural dry rot. You want to be with a woman who's into cultural dry rot when you can't stand it? Because once you bed down with her and get married to her and you move in with her, come hell or high water, she's going to watch her TV show. And she's probably going to turn it loud. You want a woman that reflects your values. Now, we must be careful. I know a gentleman who gets angry that his wife doesn't like his kind of music. Well, his kind of music is a little bit hard. Heavy metal. She's of a different ethnicity altogether. She likes love songs and sweet stuff. I said, you cannot expect your woman to like your music. Now, we have to be careful, viewers, because when we're talking about relationships, there will invariably be times when your lover loves something that you don't, and vice versa. That's okay, as long as those items of personal interest are not destructive to the relationship. Now, I would add a caveat to that. I'm a guy. And if I'm into a woman that likes violent and horror shows at my age, I'm going to be a little bit concerned. Why are you into that crap? I have made a mistake. I dated New Year's Eve almost a year ago. I dated a woman who smoked cigarettes. I thought, well, she said she does it outside on her back deck. So I took my own, it's like when you're at the bank. Remember when we were all kids? Those of us that are up there in years. And they had the little stanchions with the little chains across them. Chains like this, at U-shape, connected one pole the other. Well, when I was a kid, I'd shake it, unconnect the chain, and knock all the standards over. And the bank people got annoyed. And my mother got annoyed and said, "Stop it!" Well, I'm standing in line at a bank, and it seemed like 5 minutes seemed like eternity. What's this? Shake, shake, shake. Shake their booty. Oh, baby, I'm going off in the bank here, and I'm having a fun time. Oh, and everybody yelling at me. Party's over. Chains are on the floor. Posts are on the floor. Ramon's getting his butt spanked as soon as he gets in the car. That was fun. You have to have your boundaries, man, and you need to say, I don't like that. Let me tell you what happened with the smoker. Okay? She did smoke on her deck. She said she didn't smoke that much. We go to the restaurant. We get out of the truck. Oh, I got to have a cigarette. So we're standing in 10 degrees. I didn't say a word. We go in the restaurant. She reeks of cigarettes all in her hair, her breath. We come out of the restaurant. Oh, got to have my cigarette. Gets in my truck after smoking, crushes out the butt, puts the butt on my dash. Could you please not put the butt on my dash? Well, don't put the butt on my dash. I open my rear window, throw it in the bed of my truck. That way you're not littering, but not in the cab. She got upset at me. It was at that point that I realized, Ramon, stop it. I recently dated a woman who had a lifestyle choice that I call an addiction. She chose not to call it an addiction. And I said, okay, I don't like this. I'll overlook it. And I tried. And do you know how many times that came up in a conversation by her? You have to be true to yourself. If I'd have said, you know what? You didn't tell me this in the beginning. You told me 2 weeks after the fact. I think you're beautiful. I like a lot of things about you, but I cannot date somebody who does that. Sorry. If she's really into you, then she'll quit. If she's not really into you, she'll go back to her stuff and say, Livy. What I find with most American women today is they got all their little habits and all their little junk. And okay, people comment on my chain. This is an ornament. But with a lot of women, they got luggage hanging off their ears and their shoulders and their arms. Let me give you some examples. They are addicted to their television. And you think that's all cute in the beginning, but you got to go to bed early because you got to get up for work early and her TV's blasting. And you look at the quality of the show that she's watching and you go, this is garbage. One of my things, in fact, I'll tell you a couple of my, what I call unbendables, and I bent one of them, and I've realized you can't do that, Ramon. People getting in debt, deeply in debt, that's a no-no for me. People doing drugs, smoking, drinking alcohol, that's a no-no to me. Those two are what I call non-negotiables. And because of the times we're living in, I've negotiated the alcohol, cigarettes, drugs thing. And I found out that that was to my own deficit. You see, I'm human, and we're all human, and many guys will say, man, I want to be in a relationship. I don't want to be alone. Yeah. But who gets their way and who just yielded up their own way? How much is a male in America supposed to give up and sacrifice so that he doesn't offend her? But while she treads all over the rights of the man with her little lifestyle choices / addiction / that's just the way I am. Men, when you're dating somebody and that comes up, say, you know what? It's been nice to meet you, but I can't go for that. No can do. I'll do anything that you want me to, but I can't go for that. No can do. We need to hold that line. And if it means you're alone another Friday night, then it means you're alone for another Friday night. Breathe in. Breathe out. You just saved yourself another drama that can be saved for somebody else's mama. You cannot do that, folks. You need to be true to yourself. You need to be true to yourself. As things progressed along with this, then the comments about the necklace, the comments about the clothing, I'm like, well, you know what? Why are you into me? And then her views were liberal, mine were conservative. When you go against your main frame in order to please a woman, she will throw it in your face down the road. If you are conservative, don't date a liberal. If you don't do drugs and you don't like drugs, don't say, well, I'll look the other way with that. And when I say drugs, that includes smoking, drinking. or 420. Hold the line. Love isn't always on time. No, no, no. It's not in the things that you told me. Why are women somebody knew what I believed about all of these issues I'm talking about and still pursued me and didn't tell me for 2 weeks of the relationship that she did something that I don't go for. She was clever. She got me hooked. And I said, okay, I don't like this, but I'll look the other way. We're going to stop right there. You can't do that. You have to be true to yourself. I went to the steam baths today. It was awesome. I'd never done that before. Primarily Jewish place in a 1920s brick building. All the old tile. Big, huge hot tub with the tile deep all the way up to my chest. I got down to that water and those nice copper and brass rails. You just lean back and feel the jets on you. And ooh, and then they had a steam room with live steam. And they had a eucalyptus thing inserting that through the system. And real eucalyptus. And wow, you breathed in and just cleaned everything out. That was $20. I spent 3.5 hours in there. You go in there and it's Men's Day. And it was great. It was a great place. People were kind. No weird stuff. And I felt like a man. You go in there, you're naked, you're doing the steam thing, and it reminded me of Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble and the Water Buffalo and the Grand Poobah. And you're just in there, men talking to men, and there's none of this, weird stuff. I come out of there, and I was like, wow. I think I sweated out of every pore of my body, and that heat felt good, and then I topped it off with a nice dinner at one of my favorite restaurants, and the day after Xmas 2015, and I pampered myself. It hurts when you're in love with somebody, and that relationship is just ripped right out of you. But when you let time go by and you start thinking and ruminating and pontificating and masticating on all the past of it, and you stop and go, why did I violate my own traffic lights in the relationship? I ran red light after red light after red light. I know why I did it. The same reason all of you have done it. Oh, but she's so good looking. Oh, but she has some nice qualities. It's not about being picky and demanding perfection. When you look on date sites and you see women demanding more requirements from a man than an Ivy League school does to get entrance into that university, and that woman's got all those requirements just so you can get a date. A date is not an interrogation. You, as a man, have a right to see if she's going to work out for you, too. So she's going to do interrogation. This is how you get in the driver's seat real quick. Why were you divorced, ma'am? How do you feel about raising your children? Are you permissive? Do you have boundaries? Do you know how to say no to your child? What are your habits? What kind of TV shows do you watch? What kind of books do you read? What kind of... If I was to see your checkbook, what are your spending habits? What kind of crap do you buy at the mall? I guarantee you, if you start asking those questions, that woman's going to get up from the table and walk out of the restaurant 9 times out of 10. Women don't want to be asked those questions. They'd rather be in the driver's seat because it's all about feminism and put you on the spot. Why were you divorced? Do you have anger management issues? And they want to clinically scrutinize you and diagnose you, and then walk out of that date and say, he's bipolar, he's a stalker, he's got anger management issues, he's passive aggressive, He's a protectionist. Wow, all that happened on a date? No, it didn't happen on a date. What happened is what she's not telling her coworkers is that she interrogated, and sometimes she does. Oh, I made sure, and I asked him 55 questions. Scared him to death. You didn't scare him. Guy got in his car and said, glad that date's over. I don't want to date that train wreck. Woo woo. Amtrak, Philadelphia, next station. Oops, missed the turn. 20 cars in the ditch. You know what? Sorry, dude. Here's the thing that bothers me. We get ourselves into a situation where we bring damage to our own hearts. Yes, men have hearts, don't we? We're different. We're logical thinkers. We're the hunter-gatherer. We're the fight or flight. But we have hearts, and we get hurt. And men deal with those in different ways. Some get stoic and climb up. Others fall into rage. Others are just the walking wounded, which is most of us. Be in the driver's seat, men. Be yourself. If you like wearing that necklace, wear it. If you like wearing those clothes and you're comfortable in those clothes, wear it. Now, if we're going to talk about hygiene issues, if you want to get a date and you don't want to weed out everybody on the planet, you do need to wear deodorant. You need to shower and shave because some women don't like beards poking them in the face when you kiss them. That's not fun. And men, you do need to take some cues for how to be a little more smoother with a female. But when that woman's saying, oh, we need to go to the store and we need to change your outfit and I don't like the jewelry you wear and I don't like this and I don't like that, you need to stop right there and say, hey, why are you going out with me? Well, because I really like you. You're fun. Then you're going to have to accept that. Now, what if the woman turns that around and say, well, you know what? You got way too much debt going on here, and if I get involved with you, I'm going to inherit that. And they say, oh, no, I'm going to pay it off. Say, you know what? You got way too much debt. You're a liability. Because if you lose your job and you're with me, guess what you're going to do? And you'll be opening up your wallet, helping her. Women need to know that a credit card doesn't mean you can just charge it, and then just go, well, you know, if I can't pay it off, too bad. They make too much money anyway. Excuse me, you're stealing. Women and men need to both realize that we need to stop that entitlement mentality with plastic. If you don't have enough money to buy it, then don't buy it. Don't. People get into too much debt for a house, too much debt for a car, too much debt with overcharged credit cards because I need a trip and I need peace of mind and I need this. I'm just going to charge it. When the cows come calling and the chickens come home to roost, then the fun's over. If you don't like the sitcoms and the TV shows that she's all into, don't lie to her. Don't sit there and try to impress her. Look her in the eye and say, you know what? I don't get into that, and here's why. It's cultural baggage, it's cultural rot, and there's a lot of viewpoints being woven into those that I don't care for. And if she looks at you and goes, you're weird, say thank you. Let her walk. I don't care if she's a plus 10 in your book of beauty. Beauty wears off. Sex gets old. Yes, even with that hottie you're with, it does get old. What do you have to keep it together then? Night after night of Sex in the City and zombies and Third Rock from the Sun and whatever the shows are that I last left in the 90s? You want something that holds a relationship together beyond the bedroom. And if you're not yourself in the dating process and you get married to that person, you will come back to yourself, and all those things will get mad at you, and you will stand up and you will tell her, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. And she'll go, you told me you liked it. Then you got a problem. Now you've just created a tug of war in the relationship. As Paul Elam says, it is better for you to put your boundary down and have a spine, because there are women that will actually step up and go, whoa, this guy's got a pair of huevos, balls. There'll be a lot of women that say, oh, I'm not getting involved with him. Fine. Don't. But the problem is men are changing. Men are denying their own bedrock convictions on things just because they don't want to be alone, just because they might have a chance of getting laid or getting that girl. Just like the woman says, do you men have dignity? Mrs. Dr. T, do you have dignity? So you don't get laid, so you don't get a relationship. When we say be ourself, though, that doesn't mean that men need to excuse their stupid behavior. Like, I come home from work and I take off my muddy boots after tracking it all in the house and I throw my dirty underwear everywhere. You know what? That stuff is stuff you can change. But if a woman's dating you and she's been going out for a while and you're wearing the clothes you're wearing when you dated her and she doesn't like them 2 months later, or the necklace you were wearing when you met her, and you're being yourself, you look her right in the eye and say, man, if these things are bothering you, how much more of my original self is going to bother you? Honey, maybe we're not to be together. Say no. No, I'm not going to change my clothes for you. You know, now if you're wearing ripped up, torn up stuff with BO stains all over it, okay, you might have a problem there, but there are people that will argue, well, if you really love the woman, you'll change. Change what? The heart? Some bad habits that you should? Or external stuff? I'm going to be very careful about weighing in on that because people have to take that on an individual basis. But I've always said, you know, if a woman doesn't accept my clothes and somebody gets hung up over this and other medallions and things that I wear, hey, see ya. What are you dating me for? What drew you to me in the first place? My uniqueness? Yes. Well, when you say I like him because he's unique, you better make sure that you know what you're saying. Unique means this is unique too, baby. Unique means that I am not like everybody else. Make sure that you really mean it when you say you like unique. Because if after 2 months you start saying, I don't like this, I don't like that, say, well, then you really don't like unique. You like homogenized. So you need to date somebody who's following the clone club. Well, no, but, well, yeah, but. You've pretty much made it clear. You weed out a lot of women when you just stick to your guns. It's okay. Weed them out. What you want to do is in your search, narrow the field down. Don't waste your time with Jane and Barbie and Natalia and everybody else. They're flakes. They're not into your world. You don't want to try to play their game anyway. The sad reality is, excuse me, when you get up into our age, 40s, 50s, gets harder. Find somebody. Don't hang on to a relationship out of desperation or fear of being alone. If you can't stand half the stuff she's doing, viewing, watching, saying, tell her it's time for me to go, babe. I told you a story about a man who informed me he dated a woman out of state, and mother was interfering. And she kept telling him, oh, I'm going to find a way to make it work. I'm going to find a way to make it work. But then she said, well, you can't come over to the house anymore because my mom doesn't like you. But, he said he didn't do anything. And she said, I know the way my mother treated you was atrocious. Then why didn't you stand up to her? Oh, I could never do that. No, you just let me get thrown under the bus. Okay, guys, the first time you see somebody do that, you need to run. Because if a woman's into you, she's going to say, hey, Mom, that's my boyfriend. Knock it off. And if Mom pushes, you say, well, Mom, if you want to go get your own place to live, we can make that arrangement happen, too. If you want to live with me, you need to let me live my life. You need to let me date who I want to date. And that's the end of that. The guy went away brokenhearted because she basically, after stringing him along for quite some time after that visit, he point blank asked her, do you ever think you will live with a man or have a man live with you? No, I'm my mother's caretaker. He said, I hung up the phone. There was nothing more to say. Nothing to text, nothing to email. He said, I got my answer, and he went. You would think that when we're dealing with people our age that maturation sets in and that we'd avoid all that. Nope. Dysfunction is dysfunction. Dysfunction junction. What's your function? I mean, folks, we're not looking for perfection. But if the woman's doing all the things you don't want and she's snuggling up next to you, you need to say, hey, I don't go for this. You want to date me? You need to stop doing that. You don't date her and try to change her. You put up the boundary right there and say, I don't do that. Let's see how interested you really are in me. You going to quit that? Today's American women will get up all in your face about their rights and their freedom, and no one's going to tell me what to do. I'm not telling you what to do, but don't tell me what to do and tell me that I've got to date you and I got to tolerate that. No, I don't. And I won't anymore. You need to be you. We're living in a day and age where values are being redefined. Situational ethics is really in full swing anymore. And you're going to find women who will be interested in you, but you start talking about your stands on things, and they're going to start going, huh? Hey, you don't like the heat, get out of the kitchen. Men, be men. Men, please be men. Put on your big work boots. Say, well, ma'am, you're mighty pretty and I like some things about you, but I just don't watch those TV shows. They're pop culture trash. I'm sorry. Trust me. You won't have to break up. You won't have she'll say, oh, man, I'm out of here. You're a freak. You're not a freak. But her definition of normal is defined by cultural rot, not by cultural not. You have to find a woman that reflects much of your mainframe. You know, if you like Downtown by Petula Clark, and she's into AC/DC, yeah, you might want to stop and unpack that. If she's into that kind of music and you're into yours, and you're kind of old school, and she's into this grating, angry, heavy metal, you might want to ask yourself, is that reflective? Somebody who's got peace deep down within. Now, I know I'm going to get in trouble on that. People are saying, oh, you're knocking heavy metal. I'll tell you what, I am. People who are listening to acid rock, metal, and that offensive rap, they got anger issues. Now, I'm not saying they run around and do horrible things, but who wants to be with somebody when you want peace in your life who's going to turn on... I can only stand so much of that, and I'm starting to get a rash between my ears. Heavy metalists need to date heavy metalists. But if an American marries an overseas woman and tries to introduce their American hard rock to a woman who's used to listening to sweet and tender love songs, boy, you really got a problem. One of the problems we have with dating today is everybody wants somebody who's... Don't you wish your girlfriend was just like me? I mean, that's what it's coming down to. Now, you want some uniqueness. Now, here's what I call non-negotiables. If you don't do drugs, you don't drink, and you don't smoke, and that girl does, don't go out with her. Be kind. Oh, take her to dinner as a friend, do an activity with her, but you say, you know what? I can't date you because you do this, and this is not going to work. If we get married or we're together, I don't want this crap in my home. But, no buts. For us to take the relationship beyond friends to the next level, you got to quit that stuff. You're a rude guy. You expect me to quit just for you? Yep, sure do. Let's see how much you really think I mean to you. Do you want a relationship with your bull? Or do you want a relationship with your man? Do you want a relationship with your TV set? Or do you want a relationship with a man? Do you want a relationship with your dog? Your shopping mall? Women need to start asking those questions to women. It's way overdue. We need to. We don't need to be ashamed. I love women. I think women are fascinating. I like the way they move. They have a way about them that is so distinctly different from males, and I'm glad for that. God built it that way. But a lot of American women have been raised in a very childish, media-driven, CEO via materialism-driven, flaky religious culture. And when I say flaky religious culture, a culture that's trying to cater to all the little whiny babies, entertain me, push my fun meter button 50,000 times, and then I might go to church. Man, you don't need those kind of women, boys. They're nothing but a pack of trouble. Very rarely do I get my fun meter pegged, and I'm a guy. Throwing a little Bible in here. Forgive me. Man is born to trouble as the sparks fly upward. So all these women that come to you, and I just want to be happy. Don't we all? But sometimes it isn't always going to be happy. If your goal is happiness, you set your sights too low. Did I just say that? Yep. Happiness is dependent on fleeting circumstances. Joy goes deeper than happiness. Joy is that bedrock satisfaction of knowing who you are, knowing who your God is, for those of you that have faith in the one God. You know, baby's happy when he's sucking on a nipple, but you pull that nipple away and it's wah! Baby's happy until he poops his diaper. Wah! Baby's happy until he gets a gas bubble or needs to burp, spit up. You don't want to be with a woman whose primary goal in life is her happiness. I know too many women, and their definition of happiness literally impedes on the freedom of others around them. One woman defines happiness as having her dog, but she leaves it tied up in the yard all day and late into the night while she goes to work and goes off with her girlfriends, and then comes home and finds 10,000 notes on her front doorstep saying, hey, could you please control your dog? I can't sleep. Hey, I'm getting sick of this. This is the 20th night in a row that I can't sleep. Hey, I'm going to call the homeowners association again. And what does the woman do? It's a dog. It barks, and I love my little dog. Well, guess what? You just got 20 people that don't love your little dog and are thinking every venomous thought as, how can we slide something under the fence? That little doggy goes to the casket. When your goal is happiness, you're selfish. Does that mean that I'm saying and condemning anybody who wants happiness in their life? No. I know somebody very well. Doesn't like where she lives, wants to move out of state. Has a house payment, is deeply in debt, possibly going to lose her job, not making quota. And she wants to live in her car and start somewhere else. And I counseled her. I said, what are you doing? I hate it here. But you're a homeowner. If you move from that place to this place, the house that you have that's worth this much, to get that same house here, it's going to cost that much. And you're not going to walk into a job making what you make there, here. There's a lot of jobs, but a lot of jobs are $12 an hour. Or less. Men, you need to turn it around. If any of you men are on a date where there's an interrogation involved, here's a suggestion for you. If you bought her the meal and you haven't paid for it yet, What you do is say, excuse me, I have to go to the toilet. And you go to the toilet, but you make sure and walk to the register and say, hey, I need my bill for that meal, and I need you to give her a check. Then you pay your bill, and you walk out of that damn restaurant, get in your car, and leave. That'll give her something to think about. Now, there are women who say, oh my gosh, that's awful. Yeah, and it's awful that you interrogated that person. Now, make sure she showed up in her own car, because if you do that and she doesn't have transportation home, you are an idiot. But if you jointly met at that restaurant and she wants to interrogate, date, interview you, go walk up to the waiter and said, I need you to tell me what my food costs. And you can give her check. She's still over there eating, but I'm going to pay mine and I'm going to leave, and here's the tip. Bye-bye. Of course she'll be pissed. Serves her right. She wants to interrogate, date. You're not going to pay for that. Why should you? I guarantee you. She'll never call you or talk to you again, that's fine, but she might not do that to the next guy. So you'll save another man some heartache. Tell them Ramon sent you. They'll love you. We have got to do things differently today. We need to be wise, and we need to change the way we're dealing with women today. I know the power of beauty. It's huge. Oh my gosh, who wouldn't want this long-haired, beautiful dame who loves on you? But darn it, if it means that they always get their way and you gotta bend over on this and bend over on this and take it in the rear end, you might want to stop and think about that. How many women said, if you love me, you'll do this? You need to turn around and say, if you love me, you'll learn to take no for an answer, and that's called tough love, baby. You're not a little toddler who gets its way, and if you're going to always get your way, I'm going to say no, and if that's what you want a man for, then I'm not the man for you. I told a woman that almost this time last year, yelling and screaming at me all the way to my truck. I told her, date's over, I'm taking you home. There's nothing more to discuss. Nope, she wanted to yell and berate me all the way to the parking garage, stand out and smoke one last cigarette, and I said, honey, you've made it crystal clear that I'm not the man for you. Will you put out your cigarette, get in the truck so I can drive you home, because this is really uncomfortable and awkward, and I don't like this. Just get in the truck and be quiet, okay? I take you home. I'm not a mean man. I could make you take the city bus, but I'm not going to do that. So could you just... I wanted to say, you want to shut the F up, lady? I'm giving you a ride home, and I could leave you high and dry right now because you're really being a jerk to me. She called me 5 months later and apologized. She said, man, you could have left me there and you didn't. So like a dummy, I tried to date her again. Here, have another cigarette. I don't smoke, but I got to have them too. Vicariously, through the intake duct. Will Ramon ever learn? He did. You know how I ended that one? When she went back to her old tricks. I was at her house one last time. I saw her fine behavior show up again and again, day after day, and I did it again, and I just finally said, you know what? I just came over to bring you a gift of some nice potted plants. Now you're complaining about where to put them all, but you wanted them all. I only brought over 3, not 53. I got in my truck and left. Next day she called me. I didn't answer the phone. She left a text, are you okay? I didn't answer. The next day she called me, hey, where are you? Didn't answer the phone, didn't answer the text. A week went by, and I figured now she'll probably get the hint that a week's gone by, and I haven't called her because I used to call her. Week went by, and she goes, you know, I think it's really rude that you won't even talk to me. Good! I think it's really rude that you've been rude to me the whole time I dated you, and all I tried to do was be a gentleman and be sweet to you. Hey, man, I don't owe you nothing anymore. I'm done. Shabing. No more text, no more calling. I'm done with you. It's been a long time, but I haven't heard anything anymore. Sometimes it's okay to dump somebody that way, folks. You don't owe them anything. Would women want to behave like that? Sitting there explaining to them, because I tried to before. They know what they did, and if they're too stupid to figure it out and they demand an explanation from you, there are times when you should say, you know what, I just don't think things are working out with a rational woman. But when you're dealing with an irrational woman or a woman that's called crazy and trying to find the red flags, that's red flags. She's the definition of crazy. See ya. Sorry, I'm not going for that. We need to find something to invest our time in, a hobby, whatever, so that when we do get those pangs of loneliness, pursue something you like. Maybe in that a girl will take notice of you and she'll be okay. But in the meantime, quit chasing these people and quit telling them you like this and you like that when you don't. If that girl's got a litany of TV shows she watches and they're all flake pop culture garbage, look her in the eye and say, you know what, I don't like that kind of stuff. It's pop culture garbage. Should you really say that, Ramon? Absolutely. At least you'll know where you stand. Who knows? She might say, you know, wow, I've never actually had a man say that. I respect that. Maybe I need to look at this stuff. Yeah. You know what? Wow. Or she may go, well, you're a weirdo. No, I'm not weird. You're the one that's a little strange. That you're going to end a possibility of a good relationship over a TV show. You might want to check your mental health, lady. It's a TV show. Be yourself. It's the only way to fly. You weed out a lot of women that you don't need to be wasting your time with just by being you. I hate to sound cheesy, but Mr. Rogers taught something very profound. You are special. You need to be you. And if a woman doesn't like you, quit trying to find 99 different ways to be made acceptable and palatable to her so she will like you. Number one, women already make a decision extremely rapid fire on whether they're into you or not. When within weeks of the relationship they're criticizing what you wear and this and that, and you wore those things way before you met her and way during your dating time, look at her and say, hey, why are you trying to change me? You went after me and now you want to do it, an upgrade on me? Why? Don't date victims. When women tell you about all the ex-boyfriends, and every one of them that I've been with, they do that within the first 24 hours of meeting them. Run. Because now you're going to be looked at through the lens of all the dysfunctional people that she's been involved with. Number one. But number two, her complaining about all those guys. Remember, she's leaving out the part of the things that she did that probably drove them nuts too. I know you think she's hot, and I know you think she's cute, but don't subconsciously start believing that she was innocent and all those guys were dirtbags or hoovers. Don't buy it. There's two sides to every story. We tend to believe pretty women when it comes to them telling us stuff, especially if we have an interest in her, because we want to be that stallion. Don't play the fool. Look her right in the eye and say, I'm really sorry you've been through that. It'd be interesting to talk to those men and see what they had to say. And just very quietly put your coffee cup down and look out the window as she thinks on that for a minute. What did you just say? Well, you're telling me all this stuff. I'd really like to hear what they have to say so I could get a more balanced perspective here. If you want to end a date, that'll do it. But you need to. That needs to be done. Because if you got to live through the lens of some woman who's playing a victim, you have no business being with her. You want to date a victim or do you want to date a woman? It's your choice. This is Ramon Sawaya, everybody. This is my piece on the subject. I hope you had fun with this. I'm going to put Paul Elam's video in the link, and I hope you'll take the time to watch it. It's about as long as my video here, 57 minutes. And stay tuned. Sorry, a little tired. It's getting late over here. Stay tuned. Don't touch that dial. Ramon Sawaya is bringing you more fine video publications for your viewing pleasure.